The chair recognizes the representative from Texas, Mr. Niels.
Thank you, Chairwoman.
All right, check, check.
All right, as a former law enforcement officer for 30 years, sheriff of a large county in the great state of Texas, what I've seen happening in our country is disturbing and should be a concern to all of us. Crime is at an all-time high. The American people can't trust their government. And the left wants to defund the police because law enforcement shootings where police acted inappropriately, and those officers were rightly charged and sentenced. What we saw in 2020 with rioting across our country, led to numerous attacks on law enforcement and citizens with hundreds of millions of dollars in damage to buildings. The left will rally their troops. They'll rally them. They'll get them all together in the name of social justice. But little is being made of the hundreds of victims of crime in Chicago and New York and other large cities run by liberals, because the victims and suspects of those crimes are predominantly black. And in those cases, black lives don't matter.
Right.
They don't matter. Shame on them. And the dishonest media. The dishonest media is the greatest threat, folks. You in the back. You are the greatest threats to this country. And we've seen it, and the American people know it. Most people on the left, if not in this room, you've heard of Eric Gardner. I'm sure you've heard of him. You've heard of George Floyd. You've heard of Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown. You've heard of all those names. But what about the hundreds of innocent victims in Chicago, Philadelphia, Baltimore? You'll never hear their names. You'll never hear them named. Shameful. If you've watched the news lately, it's no shocker. Alvin Bragg likes to prosecute. He's even a fan of increasing misdemeanors to felonies for certain individuals he don't like. Some of those individuals, he said, he's the greatest danger to our country. Mr. Bragg, I hope you're watching. I hope you're watching today, sir. You're a disgrace. You're a danger to this country, and I will do everything I can in my power to hold you accountable. Your job, Mr. Bragg, is to protect the residents here in Manhattan and decreasing felonies to misdemeanors. Decreasing felonies to misdemeanors and is dangerous and places the victim last. Mr. Kessler, I'll start with you. You work for Senator Schumer and other members on crime policy. That's great. So I want to get your perspective on this Day One memo. You're familiar? You familiar with this?
I am not.
You're not familiar with this Day One memo, and you come here today? I should provide you a copy. According to the Manhattan DA, the aim of the Day One memo is to reduce Manhattan's over-incarceration issue and to deliver safety and fairness for all. And so I ask you, you're not familiar with the memo. The Day One memo stated the DA's office will not prosecute minor offenses that, quote, have no impact on public safety, end quote. So let's talk about some of the things Alvin Bragg considers minor offenses. Resisting arrest. Can you tell me how not prosecuting this makes New York safer? Resisting arrest.
I'd have to.
We're not going to prosecute it in New York. We're not going to do it.
Right.
We're not going to do it. Did you ever ask law enforcement? Mr. Giangelo, how do you feel about that? How do your law enforcement officers feel about not prosecuting resisting arrest?
They weren't happy about it. That's
Well, you wonder why 1,400 officers left New York PD in 2022. Why in the hell would you work here? I'd go out into the suburbs where you can go out there and fight crime and be respected. You're not getting that in these large cities such as Manhattan. You want to defund NYPD $1 billion in 2020, and you wonder why we are in the state of emergency we are in. Mr. Bragg laid out 5 sections of law that covers armed robberies and says New York will not prosecute them. In short, according to this memo, if you hold a gun to a clerk's face and ask, empty the cash register, sir, we are going to take that, and that's going to be a misdemeanor, no big deal. That's no big deal. How do you feel about that, Mr. Kessler? What if I come over there and I put my pistola and screw it in your ear, And I don't say anything bad to you, and we're just going to say, Mr. Niles, that's just a misdemeanor here in the great state of New York.
Well, that has happened to me.
Well, sad, isn't it? How'd you feel about that?
I was pretty scared.
Pretty scared.
Yes.
But we're going to consider that a misdemeanor here in the in New York. It's unacceptable. It's disgraceful, and I wish I had more time.
Thank you.
Hey, before you click on the next video, if y'all could do me a big favor and hit that like button. The algorithm loves it, and so do I, because it helps promote these videos and get the message out about what our government has been doing. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications, because every time I put out a video, you want to know about it, right? Thanks again, and have a good one. See you on the next one. Peace.